Welcome to my YouTube channel. I'm your entrepreneurship tutor, Professor Henry Buisa of Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. Today I want to talk about the hot debate or discussion about the bottom-up economic model that is now preoccupying all political pundits in Kenya. Bottom-up model. And I'm asking, who is fooling who? Or what exactly is this bottom-up model? Yes, when the Ruto government came to power in 2013, they started setting out grandiose projects, including, but not limited to, in 2013, there was a Kenya shillings 5.8 billion bus 19 at the port of Mombasa. Yes, we can see a neighboring president, Kagame, Rwanda, being shown around by President Uhuru Kenyatta at bus 19 at the port of Mombasa, way back in 2013. In 2014, there was an 11.5 billion Olkaria 4 geothermal power plant, and it was or is the biggest or world's largest geothermal wind power, so we are told. There it is. Geothermal. 2014, over 320 billion standard gauge railway. There it is, President Uhuru Kenyatta launching it, opening it. Grandiose, large, probably the biggest expenditure in this era. 2015, 8.5 billion Nairobi Outer Ring Road. Yes, grandiose, large investments, large scale. 2015, 7 billion Lake Turkana wind power project. There it is, Lake Turkana wind power project. Again, the president launching it. Large, grandiose projects. 2017, 20 billion Pinnacle Tower in Nairobi. Yes, beautiful, but grandiose. Now, Kenya's Deputy President, the DP, Dr. William Ruto, has criticized these grandiose investments, in which, of course, he participated, saying that the then hope that they would create wealth to trickle down to the masses was a false one. That is, a participant in those grandiose projects coming to a realization that those large-scale investments that would have trickled the benefits down to the masses did not. And they have the DP, assisted by some top economists in Kenya. Look at Professor Ndi, is now 2021 advocating for bottom-up economics. But does everybody understand what bottom-up economics model really means? Including the lieutenant of the DP himself, the politicians who are shouting for bottom-up. Do they all understand it? Whether shouting for or against? Listen to this.
What is trickle down and what is bottom up in simplified terms? by working from the bottom down.
Top down?
Yeah, from up to from top to bottom.
Don't be cheated by semantics.
From the bottom down.
Kizungu mrefu. Jana anashangaa mambo ya bottom up economic model.
Kwa sababu hata kama watu ni maskini, sio wajinga.
If you did this and you say bottoms up, this is the bottom. Mtu anaweza kila kitu.
Unakata primary.
Yeah.
This is a take as in children.
Right.
This piece of land has been linked to Deputy President William Ruto.
The same rock DP who has been in government now for 8 years comes and tells the young people in this republic that I want to bring bottom-up economy. Bottom-up? What is bottom-up?
This is the bottom. Mtu anaweza kila kitu.
What is it in Swahili? Matako juu.
Your Excellency, with all due respect, a lot of land cases have touched on you.
When the children are being taken, how did you feel about it?
Look at me. My name is William Ruto.
What can you do? Is it just a story? Even thieves can tell you stories.
Yes, you can see bottom up, even top down. It's a concept that has been brought onto the lips of the politicians, but not all of them seem to understand, seem to know it. So, are we following blindly? Yes, Dr. William Ruto, our DP, explained that bottom down is anchored on deliberately promoting investment and financial instruments targeting the millions who are unemployed, the hustler enterprises, and the farmer groups. Yes, those are not my words. I've given you the link where you can get that. You know, the DP says that the trickle-down economic model failed because it aided patronage and cronyism, bread cartels, and monopolies that benefited only a few. Of course, this reminds us of the famous J.M. karaoke phrase of Kenya has become a nation of 10 millionaires and 10 million beggars. There is J.M. karaoke. 1975 was it? I was just in Form 6 at the time he was assassinated. But that's like history repeating itself. Now the DP is saying cartels, you know, the top-down, grandiose projects only help to breed cartels, and the trickle down to the masses is not witnessed. Now, strictly speaking, bottom-up approaches emphasize the participation of the local community in development initiatives so that they can select their own goals and the means of achieving them. They also ensure community ownership and commitment and accountability to the development projects as it seeks development from below. Listen to that again. Bottom up emphasize the participation of the local community in development initiatives so that they can select their own goals and the means of achieving them. But on the other hand, top-down approaches are considered as development planned by experts at the top, who also lead the process. They provide little opportunity for people's participation in the total development efforts, who are thus marginalized. Look at them properly. Yes, surely can we have a pure bottom-up and a pure top-down? Yes, top-down. Don't we need experts? Development experts at the top to guide, to plan for below. But don't we also need them to consult the below? Don't we need both? Can we do with one? Well, I'll finish with that. So, by bottom-up philosophy, it automatically means there are certain institutions that are crucial in this bottom-up model. One global bottom-up effort that has successfully fought poverty globally is microfinance, and especially the Grameen Bank model. So, microfinance institutions involved. Now, over the years, faith-based organizations have contributed significantly to change the lives of the poor with their widespread network across the globe. The NGO world has also made notable strides in assisting the bottom-up model of development. So what are we saying? Strategies to streamline and promote the working of this basic public investment, BPI. Read my lips. It's not BBI, it's BPI. Those institutions that promote basic public investment must be involved in bottom-up. They are best placed. We're talking of microfinance institutions. We're talking of faith-based organizations. We're talking of NGOs. Those are the better placed than any politician would think about. And now, it looks like there is now a fight. Again, not my words. This is the Daily Nation. Ruto, Raila fight for the hustlers. You see, we have quoted hustlers. The word hustlers has been quoted. I have covered this hustler on this YouTube channel of mine. I'll give you the links at the end, and you can go and look at it. Now, we're talking of who? The Deputy President and the former Prime Minister. These two represent the Hustler Nation and the BBI. But the two, BBI and Hustler Nation, to me, they are conjoined twin political phrases, selling glossy symbolic gestures and not offering actual action plan, solving specific challenges. Talking politics as usual. Where are the actual plans? On the one hand, BBI promises to give more funds to the counties, yet the little that is supposed to be given now is not easily forthcoming. Governors have perennially been complaining. The little that's supposed to be given. And we're now talking of more being given when less has not been given. BBI, spearheaded by President Uhuru and the former Prime Minister Raila, turns a deaf ear and a blind eye to the culprits looting funds that would have trickled down to the masses. Rather than lay down tax reduction strategy, the government is increasing taxes and borrowing heavily. This has not convinced many that Mbele equals sour under PBI proponents. In other words, is Nasimiyu Wanjiku really taken in the minds of the BBI proponents? The hustler narrative, on the other hand, preaches wheelbarrows, and I'm putting wheelbarrows in quotes, in their current forms without clear strategies of how it will modernize them for the user to get more than what is being gotten now. In other words, we are promoting wheelbarrows, the old wheelbarrows, in their own current state, we are not making them better for the so-called hustler to improve the hustling. We want to give them, to sustain the status quo. No concrete plans of how the wheelbarrows will modernize the economy. Now, as BBI advocates for more funds to counties, we get stories like this one.
The Senate now wants the Ethics and Anti-Corruption Commission to probe governors over inflated expenditure on goods and services. While grilling the Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok, the Senate Public Accounts Committee uncovered blatant examples of extravagance in Bomet County, where the county used over 8 million Kenya shillings to furnish the governor's office. Stephen Leto reports.
It's not true.
Senate Public Accounts Committee members believe they have unraveled the misuse of taxpayers' money by county governors through unnecessary expenditure. Bomet Governor Hilary Barchok to explain to senators the extravagant, luxurious and high-end office that the Bomet governors have been using. Just before you enter the Bomet Governor office, a reception spruced by mahogany couches with central locking leg rests. The governor's PA sits on a 398,000 shillings mahogany chair that has a side extension for comfort.
How lucky one would be to be the PA of His Excellency the Governor.
A governor serving table in Bomet costing the taxpayers 500,000 shillings.
His Excellency the Governor has an executive 6-seater sofa set manufactured in kiln-dried mahogany timber, fully upholstered and sprung back and sit in leather, worth 755,000.
The procurement process is still questionable. Chair.
Bomet taxpayers coffing 50 million shillings to furnish the governor's office and lounge, and to make the office surroundings pleasing to the governor's eye. 24 million shillings was used for landscaping. According to the Senate, in total, just to make a governor in Bomet comfortable in his office, the county spent a staggering 8 million shillings, that equals to 12 months parking fees in Bomet County, according to the audit books.
Because if you're spending money which is allocated, shareable revenue, which is allocated to 1,430 people to buy furniture, there is no way you will ever be able to bridge the gap between the poor and the rich in Bomet. And when they sit behind those desks, a poor mother comes looking for bursary. And you know how much they give for bursary? You get 2,000.
Currently, when as we are speaking, there is a special audit going on in Bomet on these issues.
Other than conference chairs and a U-shaped conference table that both cost close to 2 million shillings, there is also an executive flower pot that cost 57,000 shillings.
A flower vase for 60,000 to hold flowers. In a rural county.
Senators raising an alarm over such expenditures in other counties. They want auditors to be more critical to safeguard taxpayers' money. Today's grilling of the Bomet governor has exposed the excellency extravagance at the county level. And by the Senate word, the county bosses are looting the taxpayers' coffers dry at the comfort of their very expensive leather seats. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV, Parliament Buildings, Nairobi.
Yes. Having listened to that news item, consider the difference between giving the Bomet governor more money versus buying maize from the county farmers at 3,500 instead of 2,200 as it is now. This will not only economically empower the county farmers, but it will also create many more jobs along the maize value chain, produce bigger economic ripple effects, probably disperse power to a larger number of businesses, all of which promotes bottom-up development. I want to repeat. BBI wants to devolve more money, give more money to governors so that they spend on themselves. Consider that. So, neither BBI nor Hustler Nation models have clear plans for basic public investments, the BPI, and how they will streamline and enable bottom-up institutions like NGOs to serve the masses better. That is what many will want to hear. We know for sure that Kenya followed a strongly centralized or top-down development model for 20 years from independence in 1963. In 1983, a new approach called District Focus for Road Development was introduced with the declared objective of expanding the base of rural development by involving citizens through local interest groups such as cooperatives, self-help groups, churches, etc., etc. Today, we have a devolved government with counties. Should we pick anything from here? I'm not hearing. We are not hearing a lot in concrete terms from neither from BBI nor Hustler Nation. What BBI and Hustler Nation camps could do, in my own opinion, for BBI, start already now showing that you care, we care for the masses, and reduce indirect taxes that hurt the poor through prices. Punish the looters of the funds that should trickle down to the masses. Uwezo Fund, COVID Fund, to mention but two. Do it now so that we know you are serious. Now, take the example of the giant Kenya Power generating electricity and poorly but expensively supplying it to rural villages. Imagine 200 cattle farmers in the villages enabled to construct biodigesters to supply neighbors with light. Isn't that bottom up? Isn't that reaching the masses? Isn't that making life easier? For Hustler Nation, rather than give the poor those old and poor models of wheelbarrows, invest in modernizing them to make the work for the poor even easier. Look at the wheelbarrow that we are looking at. This is like asking people to continue with the status quo. This wheelbarrow can be modernized. This wheelbarrow can be motorized so that even an old mama can ferry her tomatoes to the market. The builders can use it even better. Yes, there are institutions in this country, technical training institutes, youth polytechnics. Rather than go around giving or buying or why not demonstrate through, let's say, an institution, technical institution, that we can produce these motorized wheelbarrows so that we see that is what we're going to expect. At those links of mine, I have talked about the same wheelbarrows. I've talked about entrepreneurial nation versus the hustler nation. For now, we seem to be playing politics as usual. Neither BBI nor the hustler nation camps are concrete with what we want to expect in the future. But strictly speaking, if you asked me about the top-down and bottom-up approaches, I will say, this is the government. The top-down means the government promotes mass production by a few large projects, hoping that the gains will trickle down to the masses. There it is. We channel resources to large enterprises, the capitalists if you want, and bottom up, the government promotes production by the micro and small enterprises owned by masses, hoping to generate growth. So there they are. The poor, the masses, at the bottom. The capitalists at the top. The question is, when you promote the capital, the large enterprises, policies, incentives for the benefits to trickle down to the micro enterprise must exist. And that is what we want to hear. Then the micro will also therefore being promoted incentives, policies to help them grow. In my own opinion, those two must exist together. We cannot wish away the trickle down in favor of one bottom up. Neither should we wish away bottom up in favor of trickle down. Small enterprises and large enterprises coexist. The large enterprises are a market for the micro enterprises. So if you talk of removing trickle down, not focusing on trickle down, and only focusing on the bottom up, then you may easily miss the market. So in my opinion, the answer is the need to balance the two. We cannot. There is no pure bottom up. Yes, there could be pure trickle down, which is always hurting the bottom, but there's no pure bottom up. Even as we talk of bottom up, there must be an apex. The experts making policies from the top to come down, so that then the bottom starts coming up. So the model of bottom up cannot be a standalone. The model of trickle down should not be a standalone. The challenge is to balance if we want our economy to grow. That is my opinion. And if you enjoyed it, like it, share, subscribe. And if you really wish to support us bring you more, you could donate by visiting that website, and the donation instructions procedure will be found. But you can also, quick one, buy goods number 547-6465. That is, if you wish to support this cause. Have a bottom up, top down, they want you. Thank you for listening.